I'm Officer Norman.
Hey,
There's really two key components when you talk about philosophy and community policing. It's relationships and commitment.
Snuck up on you, Carol.
hey, everybody, love you.
We love you too, Carol.
As a teenager and early adult years, it crossed my mind that I wanted to be an officer. Never really thought that I was cut out to be an officer. People that knew me from childhood thought that the uniform and the badge would change the person that I'd always been. And that person was volunteering, being involved and loving people. And so initially, wearing the uniform and walking the streets, people thought there was a hidden agenda with me. If they saw me walking down the street, they would go inside their house, or they would turn their back, or they wouldn't wave back if I waved. So what it took for me to do was not to give up on them, not to give up on my mission, and to come back the next day, and the next week, and the next month, and the next year. When people know you're not going to go anywhere, and this officer is not knocking on my front door to take someone to jail, he's knocking on my front door to ask me how my day is going, how are my kids, how is work. People will accept you as not just an officer, but really as a member of the community, that you become part of that family. Probably around 2013, 2014, I would post interactions with young people in the community, or really people of all ages, people of all colors, just to kind of see what kind of reaction I would receive from people on social media.
It's my movie.
Nice. Shrek 2.
Oh, you got a movie too? Yeah, this is my movie. Yes, I got a movie. I got a movie too.
What's up? Good morning.
2016, the rapper The Game in Los Angeles started to GoFund for me. And this is a rapper who wasn't really a fan of police officers, but his son Harlem wanted to know about positive policing, and somehow they searched and located my work in the Arkansas community and started to GoFund, raised $72,000 for me to continue my work outside of being a police officer. Mission Give Foundation is something that I wanted to start to begin a legacy, one not of a police officer. When my time on earth is done, I don't want people just to remember me as a man that wore a uniform and made a difference. I want to prove to people that you don't have to be a police officer to make a difference. And it's forming relationships with people that I think some in society would forget about or turn their backs on. So people that have disabilities, people that can't walk, they can't talk, they can't hear. Once you become friends with them and you make a promise that you'll be in their life, you have to remain in their life and be a promise kept, so to speak. And that's huge when it comes to community policing, people to see your face every day, you be visible. But not only in uniform, but wearing what I have on today, right? And you go right back out there on your day off, or maybe when your shift is over, because the community ultimately becomes a part of your family, and you spend time with them as much as you can. I just encourage people to gotta make a difference and volunteer. And don't sit back and wait. And now I travel across the world speaking about my work as a public servant. It's a huge honor.
I actually came across Officer Norman with one of my youth. I saw that she follows him, and I called her and I said, "Who's Officer Norman?" And she just started raving about him. And she's like, "He's awesome, he's good to everybody." And I said, okay, so I started following him about a year ago. I see that he does a lot of community policing.
Well, I'll share my story first of all. I'll share my story of a young boy in North Little Rock, Arkansas, that at a young age wanted to give. And I share that anybody can make a difference.
Bereavement Care Network Incorporated, we're an organization that caters to family of homicide in the city of New Haven. 3 days after the homicide actually occurs, my assistant will reach out to the families. I will contact the mother or whoever is, over the finances for the actual funeral, and we'll meet with them face to face. So I will actually go into the home of the families, meet with them, see where we can help them, either monetary, flowers, gift cards, wherever they're in need in at that time, we will help them. One of my close friends passed away in 2011. His mom asked me to help her, with the funeral, as far as going to the funeral home, to the cemetery. At that time, that was not my cup of tea. After I did see, his mom do all of that, I said it's a greater need in the city of New Haven. and I founded the Bereavement Care Network because of his death.
I feel like through relationships, that's also a way to maybe prevent crimes, because more and more people will know through relationships that you care for them.
The mission is to let the city know that these families are hurting. When the families, they're usually located in the front of the marching rally. When they look behind them, they see cars, they see flags, they see signs, just knowing that they have support. They're not in this alone. A lot of my families tend to stray away from policing because of their fear of, you didn't solve my son's case. I'm bringing Officer Norman to make them aware that, number one, it will happen. You will have community policing. You will have these police that will, be there to support you. And every police officer is not a bad officer.
So it's going to take police officers getting out of their police car, visiting the local Boys and Girls Club, visiting local nursing homes, visiting local barbershops. But it also takes community members to maybe approach an officer and speak to an officer and engage in a conversation to get to know that officer as well.
When you have a homicide, when it occurs, you deal with so many officers, and Officer Norman, he has that following where, he's actually trusted in the community.
It takes all of us, right? So Officer Norman can't change the world, but I can at least do my part. So we should all come together. It takes a village, and so it's something that I take very, very seriously.
My reward with bereavement care is, before I leave the door, the parents say to me, "Can I give you a hug?" And they didn't know me from anything walking in, but they want to give me a hug because I actually just helped them and assisted them with their loved one's funeral. We contact the families once a month just to see if they need anything, and we'll go have dinner, we'll do paint night, things of that nature.
You build bridges by forming relationships. It could be a back-to-school event where you provide backpacks and school supplies for children and families. It could be during prom season where you provide a couple of prom dresses and tuxedos for students that can't afford them. Haircuts, tennis shoes. Really, when a need arises, we want to try our best to be there throughout the entire year.
I say, look in the front of you, look behind you, look to the left of you and the right of you, and just know that everyone you're looking at are dealing with the same pain.
You don't have to have a lot of money or drive a nice car or wear nice clothes. As long as you get out there, and if you make a difference in one person's life, you change the world.